Don't be giving me the evil eye over the title of this video. You clicked on it after all. Ignoring the stupidity of whatever so-called journalist kicked off the idea that D&D's Orcs, as described in Volo's Guide to Monsters, was somehow a statement about the negative stereotypes of African Americans, let's just pretend, for the sake of hypothesis, that the critique was accurate, and that you, as a young boardroom executive at Wizards of the Coast, have to put out this firestorm of microaggressions and come up with new lore to replace the old. Lore that won't make activist games journalists think about black people when they read about an evil race of vicious murderers. In the world we all live in, that corporate boardroom decided the answer was to, now famously, turn orcs into heroic feminist Mexicans, who can be whatever they want to be, except the proud parent of a half-orc child, seeing as procreating with humans in D&D is probably some form of racial supremacy. They wouldn't call them half-orcs unless they were saying that being human is the norm, so you know, Jim Crow. Which is itself probably racist because the crows in Dumbo were racist. No, the progressive thing to do is to keep the races clearly separated and call them different species, and make them analogs for migrant Mexican workers and banditos. Now finally the people of Waterdeep won't have to clean their own toilets. If you haven't caught on by now, I find this whole alleged controversy to be ridiculous, from its inception to its resolution, and has just become yet another endless talking point for people to cite anytime anyone proposes doing anything that wasn't an AD&D First Edition, or Basic. Ignoring the Mexican Orcs meme, which is something of a distortion anyway, the real problem is that 6th edition has removed them entirely from the monster manual, framing them among the heroic races. This is the sort of shit that has caused the left to lose its grip on pop culture. It so misses the point of why D&D needs things like orcs and goblins in the first place. They should have kept Orcs Evil, just reframe what evil means to modern standards. D&D's orcs should be based on the KKK and the Nazi Party. Don't make them pretty and intelligent members of a multi-ethnic society. Keep them ugly and warlike, and contrast that by making them racial supremacists. Have Grumsh presented by the orcs as a god of love and freedom, and then have them occasionally lynch members of their own society for minor infractions against Grumsh's laws. Instead of random hordes of orcs storming the countrysides because barbarian, have them try to present themselves as a sophisticated people who only want to expand their territories because everyone around them stole what was rightly bestowed to them by Grumsh. Or have small clannish groups of orcs who resent all the inferior races around them, clinging to some distant shred of elven origin, but are just poor, uneducated farmers living on undesirable land. Orcs should be easily led by charismatic tyrants who win their loyalty by telling them stupid-sounding slogans.
We have to do something about the lizard folk. They're eating the displacer beasts.
Or if you do want to include them among the heroic races, instead of mapping them onto a different ethnicity so that no one thinks that Hasbro was secretly planting anti-black propaganda in D&D 5th edition sourcebooks, map them onto the proletariat working class. Make them an industrial blue-collar race that works a bunch of the thankless maintenance jobs around Faerun's various cities. The stuff that needs someone bigger than a dwarf or gnome to do the work. Have them be really into local sports, drinking, and riotous scuffling between rival fans or workforces. Make their community leaders into anti-authoritarian, anti-elitist pseudo-revolutionaries. Maybe blend both types together. Orcs can have a respectable, hard-working blue-collar ideal, but they do still cling to Grumsh worship or harbor supremacist values behind their anti-elitism, blaming all their problems on elves and goblin bankers. And in places where orcs hold the majority, they're easily whipped up into a fascistic fervor, making them a clear and present danger to their more peaceful neighbors, if they are not constantly placated and their egos stroked. That the humans, elves, dwarves, and halflings have had to reluctantly accept orcs among the civilized races in order to satisfy their pridefulness and keep them from attacking everyone without provocation. Have orcs be paranoid and prone to conspiracy thinking. They know the humans are spying on them and trying to corrupt their children with human values. They have no choice but to attack Neverwinter to prevent humans from replacing them and stealing their way of life. And it's not a contradiction that their dear leader is himself an evil human wizard, because he's one of the good ones. Contrasts and contradictions. A painfully hideous and stupid race that thinks they're better than elves and humans, who are surprisingly good dressers, at least for their leaders and officers, and have a frighteningly effective army with strict discipline, make the villainous variety have a strange hang-up about halflings, thinking they're out to get them, and occasionally sparking halfling extermination campaigns, forcing the other races to have to rally together against them. Maybe half-orcs living among humans will meet in secret and wear hoods or masks to hide their identities, and then go around harassing halfling families in the night. Basically what I'm getting at is that if you felt that the depiction of evil orcs was outdated and perhaps a bit insensitive to modern ethical standards and expectations, I'm being rhetorically generous, then the answer is not to make evil into good. It is to update the material to match your vision of what evil is supposed to be. People may still have complained, but they'd be lacking several angles of attack that they currently enjoy if this had been handled my way. So until next time, stay waspinated.
Fight orc power. You've got a fight orc power. Fight orc power. You gotta fight orc power with ease. Fight orc power. Yeah, fight orc power.